It's about damn time. Why in God's name am I doing this? Why? Why? That means I'm gonna have to put in effort, right? This is the first game on the review channel that actually has a story. If you could call it that. It's trash. Everything's trash. I should just give it the rating and get it over with. This right here. This is bullshit. So, yeah, let's just get this shit over with and be done. God damn it. Oh yeah, this is the trailer. The reason why I have this trailer is because if Volition is too lazy to actually make a game, then I'm gonna be lazy to make a review. And on that note, might as well cover the story and the characters as quickly as I can, because the shirtless goon, Nina, Steve Urkel, and the diversity hire that ended up becoming the creative character, only because fans went there and completely downvoted this trailer, are 4 college students that just got out. 3 of them went into gangs, let me rephrase that, 2 went to gangs, 1 went to a private military force, and Steve Urkel is supposedly the guy doing the budget, yet he's the one with the tie and the high water pants. The fact of the matter remains that these 4 are not the most threatening people in the planet. I mean, the shirtless goon literally has a waffle tattoo, for God's sakes. And on top of that, he rolls with a gang that wears Hello Kitty masks. These guys are not threatening in the slightest. At least Nina running with a gang that actually is credible to an extent. And by the extent, I mean the only thing that's about them is cars and the fact that they're beefed up. And more importantly, their leader gets 8-6'd by someone else. And then there's Marshall. While Marshall would have been more of a credible threat, unfortunately, they had to pull the no compete clause to try to get your gang. And no, this game does not deserve a spoiler alert. No, this does not deserve one at all. The no compete clause bullcrap was only after the Busters worked with the Nahuali to rob the train. Oh, by the way, that's the other guy, the Nahuali. A guy you spend the majority of the beginning of the game trying to capture. Out of spite of the job that fire you, you end up freeing him. And what does he do? Betrays the Busters, almost kill the boss, bury the boss alive, and take the boss's properties and crew for himself. And even made the shirtless goon put on a shirt. You want to know what the worst part about all this is? As bad as the writing of the story is, the dialogue of the story is. And yes, the dialogue is terrible. And I feel sorry for the voice actors who willingly spoke those lines. The worst part about the story is in fact the forced activities, because Volition learned nothing, and the forced activities pretty much hold the story. As in literally hold the game hostage. In fact, many important missions that involves not only Los Panteras, the Idols, and Marshall are all held by forced activities, including this one. We'll get to the most egregious one later, but I might as well also bring up the gangs themselves. As far as the Marshalls is concerned, Marshall Incorporated is just a bunch of paid mooks, like Merriweather, by some rich sleazebag, only this one's named Atticus Marshall, who you can either kill or not kill, depending on how much you tolerate this fucking game. Meanwhile, Los Panteros, who look badass, had the worst written way to actually do some emotional damage to them by destroying their cars. Let alone the fact that Sergio was built up to be a big bad only to be killed off by the Nahuali. And while the Nahuali was a decent enough villain, guess what? He suffered cut content syndrome. Which brings us to the Idols. The Idols are the worst of the bunch, because at least in the Wally gang, would have been interesting if it was for cut content. Even with cut content, the Idols is trash, because literally, they are the representation of those goons straight from the dregs of the chops of Seattle. Yeah, the Idols is literally Antifa in a nutshell. And if we needed any more political commentary, the Idols is stupid enough to try to fight capitalism with capitalism. God damn it. And then there's Dustmoot, which, by the way, the entirety of Santo Ileso is involved in, including the cops, including the gangs. And even worse, the Dustmoot weapons are forcefully put into your hands. And by the way, the Dustmoot weapons cannot be customized at all. You can only unlock the ability that's given to them. And more importantly, the entirety of Dustmoot is, yes, a forced activity. You have literally 6 instances of Dustmoot. 6 instances of corny acting. 6 instances of just absolute retardation. All this to keep the main story going. And by the way, this is a mandatory friend mission with Eli. I might as well get that out of the way, that yes, there are friend missions too. Which, by the way, if you don't complete, your friends die at the end of the game. Honest to God, I would wish that over the actual ending, which is an unearned quick draw against the Nahuali. And in order to get to that, you gotta do this. Oh, and by the way, I also forgot to mention one other thing. It's not forced activities that's just a problem. It's also the fact that you need cash. Lots of cash in order to get the story completed. How much are we talking? A whopping 52 million. I don't think you heard me, people. 52 million. 52 million just so that you could buy all of the properties of your criminal empire. And more importantly, just so that you can go on ahead and buy one of the sleaziest looking Saints Towers I have ever seen. The one in Saints Row the Third looked better. But that is basically the shit you gotta go through for the story. And by that time, you will be completely winded. Because there's a lot of collectibles and a lot of gameplay just to get through the story. and it's not worth it at all. Do I really need to harp on the graphics? No, because they suck. As much as they tried so hard to optimize graphics, it suffers, it tears, it pretty much rips. Every time a sandstorm comes, it looks absolute garbage. Dude, in case you're wondering, yes, I'm fighting with a topless woman. Oh, and by the way, they turned the pasties into nipples after, several games of people doing that anyway, between Saints Row 2 and Saints Row 4. The point of the matter remains, ladies and gentlemen, the graphics just don't look good. And in all honesty, they overhyped this game because the trailer's graphics look better than the actual game we got. I mean, look at this. Lens flare and all the LED lights that they're putting in. Hell, even the gunshots don't look good. They look like something you see from an 8-bit game. Normally, I wouldn't actually harp on graphics, but when graphics is your biggest selling point and they fail this miserably, you got problems. And even worse, this is once again a town where there's literally no open doors or no buildings you can actually run into. It's just a lifeless, empty town. Lifeless, empty desert and all that stuff. And the thing of the matter is, I can't feel sorry for the Volition devs because they brought that on themselves for trying to emulate games that are pretty much better than they are when they actually just stuck to what works. As everyone tried to tell them for years. Let's be honest, Saints Row 4 was the best graphics that they were going to get, despite the dreariness that is the simulation. Yes, I would rather be in the simulation than this. This is telling of how bad the graphics are. Oh yes, the sound. Where do I begin? First and foremost, the voice actors going off script, even though their actual script is in the subtitles, and they do this multiple times. Let alone the fact that they push in such awful jokes, awful political humor, because let's face it, by this time politics stopped being funny. And the fact that you're forced to hear this, and also poor millennial jokes as well, it gets monotonous. You want to know what also gets monotonous? Two songs that I used to like back in the day, Busta Rhymes' Woo-Ha and also Onyx's Slam, constantly put on repeat with poor mixing. More like the fact that they butchered the hook and put it on repeat. They did that on separate occasions, but this is where Onyx has been repeatedly used over and over and over again. So while you're trying to bust out the Nawali out of prison, the only thing you're going to be hearing over and over again is Slim! Da, 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 let the boys be boys! Over and over again. Oh, and if you turn off the copyright music, you get the royalty-free music, which is twice as annoying, because the royalty-free music plays whether the copyrighted music is on or not when you're in every single battle. Every single one. Now, I can understand that they don't have any musicians to make, unique music for Saints Row, but this is just bad. And also, I left my wallet in Santo Aleso. The fact that they got A Tribe Called Quest to rap that god-awful song. They deserved better than that. They deserve better than this game. Even the classical music that's been recycled in every Saints Row game, while it's good to listen to, they deserve better than this game. You went and gotten recycled, like, royalty-free or royalty domain tracks from NFL 2K21. Or should I say NFL Madden 21, or whatever the fuck that game is that sucks. Whatever the case, folks. The sound is also terrible on the cars and the guns. The guns sound like pea shooters. The cars are low volume. The only thing high volume is the hang glider, and also the motivational speaker, and the royalty-free music. I can't harp enough that the sound mixing is bad. So let's get to the crux of what everybody wants to see. My review of the gameplay, which is the worst thing of them all. Oh, let's talk about that gameplay, shall we? That gameplay that everyone knew was going to suck real bad, and that the trailer tried to sugarcoat, and that the rabid community manager pretty much acted like a complete total donkey online on Twitter for, calling people terrorists. Yeah, it is beyond trash. First, let's start off with the fact that your level is just like Agents of Mayhem, maxed out at 20. You're not going any higher. And no, there is no way for you to increase your level. Once you're at 20, that's it. Meaning difficulty doesn't mean shit. You want to try to be an elitist with this game? By all means, you'll realize soon enough that the game came out broken day one. You know, the trend of modern gaming. Whenever they try to push politics or something like that, chances are the game is broke as hell. Never mind the fact that, wait for it, you have to get most of the customization, that glorious customization that they try to hook the fans into with forced activities. Nobody likes forced activities. While yes, the only good thing is you can change your character on the fly, everything is not available at the start. You will notice that there is some, how shall I put it? There are some materials. I had to think about that for a second because this game frustrates me so much. There's materials for your clothes and materials for your car. Unfortunately, you have to find those through forced activities. And what are the forced activities I'm talking about? I'm talking about the businesses for your criminal empire. Remember I said you need $52 million in order for you to actually get the entirety of the game defeated? I was not joking! The Empire costs money to put out any sort of business that you're going to be doing repetitive forced activities on. You will have to do at least a handful of forced activities over and over and over again in order for you to complete that forced activity, on top of going throughout the entirety of the territory and killing all of the gang-controlled areas, using your cell phone throughout the entirety of the game to take pictures of territories and take pictures of all sorts of things to put into your crib to customize. And by customize, I mean it'll end up turning into a small statue that you can just place everywhere and make it look like customization, as opposed to Saints Row 3, Saints Row 2, and Saints Row 1, well, like actually no, Saints Row 3 and 2, because they're the only ones that actually customized your crib, where you paid a lot of money to actually get the crib to be completely done. Oh, and by the way, the reason I ended up falling out of my helicopter, that was actually a glitch. That wasn't me being stupid. No. I actually pressed the R1 button to try to drop the magnet, and I fell out of the damn helicopter. That's one of many glitches that happen in this game, like falling through the scenery, falling through the air, or sliding and end up crashing into a building and nothing happening to you, or the tiniest rock will blow up your car. Things of that nature. That's just an example of the things that this half-ass made game has done, let alone the fact that the game is unfinished, and as of this month, it had two patches. Yeah, it had two patches. The patch for St. Patrick's Day and the Beast patch. Oh yes, the Beast patch. Put in more glitches than it took out. All it did was try to stabilize the game. It didn't even do that. Look at how the game is trying to kill itself to load up areas that, by the way, was glitching out. Look at the traffic. It's glitching out. You can wholeheartedly see. That the game is going to screw with you, no matter how good or how bad you are at this game. And the fact that this game demands you to literally spend $8 million on a Saints Row tower. Mind you, the revenue is nowhere near as fast as Saints Row 3 and 4. Nope. The revenue that you get in Saints Row, God damn, that's just sucked. I almost felt like I was in a Let's Play of this stupid game for a second there. But as I was saying, the revenue you get in Saints Row Reboot is so damn slow, it's not even funny. It literally takes one in-game hour to actually get a certain number of money. And more importantly, you're going to have to do a lot of force activities to increase that revenue, and also take care of the businesses and take care of the territory. That also includes doing all of the actual activities that they have, like for instance writing a bad Yelp review and fighting an entire group of people in a survival match, and more importantly, driving missions like riding shotgun and Pony Express. That's just terrible. But among the forced activities is insurance fraud, which they butchered that too. Oh, and they brought back heli assault. Fuck you people. Fuck you! As you can clearly see, the helicopter sucks. And through no fault of mine, by the way. This is how they programmed the game. They threw that bitch out half-assed and expect people to like it. Talking about some freaking haters gonna hate. Seriously. The only thing that the haters hating right now is how terrible this game has become. And it has been 5 months since, actually no, 6 months since this game has came out. Oh, and can I let you all in on a little secret? They knew the gameplay was terrible. And also the censorship of Freckle Bitches, and also the censorship of Jim Robs. They knew this game was terrible, so they pushed the game from February to August. Do you want to know what happens on August? LGBT Awareness Month. That's why they pushed it there. So that they could pull off the, if you're not liking this game, you're racist, sexist, homophobe bullcrap. But in all honesty, you're practically playing a game that force you to play the terrible activities, including Dustmoot. You're playing a game with a terrible story, terrible sound, terrible everything, from beginning to end. And you know what? You'll be at level 20 by the time you're almost done with the second act of the game. And with that said, let's go to the rating. I'm sick and tired of seeing this fucking game. And with the pros and cons compiled, it is now time for the rating. I'm gonna take this game down to Old Town Road and watch it die as it tries to load. Even with the Beast patch. And the most current patch that just came in. Who could have seen that coming? Just about everybody. I mean, we all gave Volition hints on what we wanted the Saints Row game to be, and they stomped their feet, covered their ears, and decided to listen to hipsters from Reset Era, and this is what we got. I stand by fully what I said in that pathos, and it aged like fine wine, because who would have thought that this game would have sucked this badly? And needless to say, I fucking told you so. Unfortunately, this right here is the death of not only Volition, as they're now a part of Gearbox, but Saints Row, as Embracer embraces the failure and tries to put things on hiatus. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, this is RGman985. Thank you for sticking with me in this review. I'll see you all next time, hopefully for something more positive.